Welcome to Our Ventura TV. I'm Bart Stern, your host. We're joined today by University of Southern California head coach of the men's golf team, Chris Zambri. He's also been named National Coach of the Year in college, as well as the U.S. National Coach for the Palmer Cup in international competition. He's a native of Ventura County, resident of Camarillo, and we're so glad to have him. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
So you're a coach at the highest level of college golf. Tell us a little bit about how good does a golfer have to be, a junior golfer, to make it in college?
Our sport is somewhat unique in that we have a handicap system that all golfers play by. And so what's kind of nice as a coach is if you tell me your handicap, I can pretty much tell you if you're someone we'd be looking at or not. And so in the handicap system, it goes down to 0, and then it starts going in the next direction. And we need guys who are about +3s or +4s.
I'm in the positive side.
Yeah, no, I've seen you play, and you're not. But yeah, we're looking for the best of the best. Kids who've been winning tournaments since they were little guys. Kids who are willing to give up quite a bit to become, a college golfer who can help us win tournaments, because that's our goal, to win tournaments.
Right. And as you know, I'm a bad golfer, but I've noticed there are so many good golfers, and I've seen even in the juniors so many great kids that it must be really difficult to know and to choose which are going to be the greats in college.
It is. One of the things that makes it more difficult for golf is that we started recruiting kids earlier now. Yeah. And so unlike football that really starts making their final decisions in January of their senior year, we're making decisions 2 years earlier than that. And so we're rolling the dice a little bit at times, and sometimes it works out great, and other times we get a kid who might be the greatest kid ever, but just not good enough to help us week in and week out.
Right. I noticed that on your team you have international players, and so the recruiting field isn't just Southern California, right?
It's not, but what I found, this is my 8th year, and so what I found is that our best bet is California kids, or our California kids. And so
I guess if you had the choice, you'd rather have them all.
Yeah, you'd rather have, it makes a lot of things easier logistically, but we're certainly open and willing to take kids from anywhere. But we've been focusing more, even though we have kids on our roster who are from other countries, we've been focusing more on the state, because we feel like with a name like USC, along with, there's some other big time schools in this state, but we're probably amongst the big 4 if you count Stanford, Cal, and UCLA. And so we feel like we have a leg up on these kids rather than kind of going after a kid from Tennessee and being just another name amongst maybe 10.
Right. So I know that the Trojans have been Pac-12 champions under your coaching. You're at the highest level of college golf, but also the university seems to have a really top-level athletic department. Pat Hayden is the athletic director, so it must be a really special experience just coaching at USC.
It is. I've been able to, we have a guy on our staff, Jovan Vavic. He's our water polo coach. He coaches the men's and women's. I think he's won 12 national titles. And
how many? Several in a row, right?
Yeah. And we've got Peter Smith in tennis. He won 4 national titles in a row. I'm around a lot of unbelievable coaches. Right. This is my 8th year. I try to learn as much as I can from all of them, because I'm certainly, my biggest skill is golf, and then I'm a coach, and so, but my profession is coaching, and so I've been trying to ramp up to be a better coach all the time, because I feel like I know the golf, but coaching is different than just having a skill of knowing the sport.
Right. There are always great athletes who don't necessarily transfer to being great coaches.
It happens all the time. Right? It happens all the time. And I was lucky enough to inherit some good players when I started, and so they kept me from looking too inexperienced. They made me look pretty good, actually. And fortunately, I've been able to hang around long enough to get better at what I do. And so, yeah, I mean, I love what I do, but I have all these folks around me who are so great at what they do. We have tons of resources at USC. We have a sports psychologist who works with our kids. We have the best physical trainers. And so the opportunity is there to be the best team in the country, and a lot of it has to do with the kind of job that I do, and I've got to make sure I do a great job.
Right. So, and as a coach, you must have great experiences. You were successful as a professional golfer for a long time, transitioned into coaching. Is it a dream job to be at USC? And
Absolutely. Dream job for me.
And you were a Trojan golfer? You were a standout on the USC golf team?
Well, I don't know about a standout. I was on the team. I was first team all USC. It would have been better to be an All-American. But I think my kids on the team benefit from the fact that I played my best golf as I got older. And so I wasn't a natural. I wasn't phenomenal by any means in college, and so I've kind of had to learn how to get better. And I feel like those experiences have helped me as a coach, because if there's something that can go wrong with someone's game, I feel like I've pretty much experienced all of that myself. And so, yeah, it is a dream job. If I'm not going to be playing golf, this is where I want to be.
The true test might be whether you can make me a good golfer. That could be the most impossible. Yeah, you already
I
knew
think
that.
I can. I think I can. You just got to dedicate more time, Bart.
Right.
Just what you have. Yeah.
So what's your favorite experience been? Is there something that is most memorable as a
Absolutely.
coach?
You mentioned in the opening, I got to coach the Palmer Cup team. And so the Palmer Cup is like our college golf Ryder Cup. And for people who don't know golf, it's a match play.
Like the Olympics, kind of.
Yeah, it's a match play competition with U.S. college golfers and European-based college golfers, or kids from Europe who might attend school here in the States. But anyways, I got to coach the team. It was a thrill of a lifetime. We spent a week in Northern Ireland.
Wow.
Played a top 15 course in the world called Royal Portrush. And our team won, which was fun. It was, it's not super common for us to go over there and prevail. And so that made the week twice as great. But in the end, got to bring my wife, got to bring my folks, and
That's
it was
great.
Just great. Yeah.
What a great honor to be picked out of all of the coaches in the United States.
I mentioned earlier, I inherited some really good players when I started, and luckily, I felt like I helped them somewhat, but I really did. These kids were just phenomenal, and they did great, and by virtue of them doing well, I was awarded an honor that allowed me to become the coach of this team. And it was just the thrill of a lifetime. I'd love to do it again, actually. But in order to do that, we're going to have to play great.
Great. And the Trojans are always in the hunt for the national championship. I know you have coming up the regional and national tournament, right?
Yeah. We have, the way it works in college golf is there's a regional. There will be 6 regionals. Somewhere around 82 teams will be going for 30 spots at the finals.
Wow.
And so this is my 8th year, like I said. It's the 8th year going to regionals. We've been lucky enough to get to the finals every year that I've been around. That is definitely the goal. It's the biggest tournament of the year by far.
What a huge feat, though.
Well, it's
even to get that far.
Yeah, it's good. I feel like I don't ever want to take for granted that we get to experience this, because I know there's some teams out there that didn't get to go to regionals. Right. And so I feel for them, but on the flip side, I feel like where we are at USC, that should be a place that we're every year, and then ideally we get to the finals also. And so in a week's time, we'll find out if we do just that. We're in Chicago, and it's always a stressful week, but it's a fun week, and we get to see the kids step up and really prove that, hopefully we're a big-time team.
I bet it's a great experience also for your athletes to be involved at that level and play against others from around the country. And
absolutely. The way the regional system works is there's a chance that you'll be, for instance, this year Washington is being shipped to North Carolina to play.
Kind of like March Madness with the
absolutely.
College basketball.
Absolutely. The better your seed, the closer you'll stay usually. But in order to really balance the tournament, they have no qualms sending Washington, straight down the country and across to North Carolina. We're going to Chicago. UCLA is going to San Antonio. And so they're doing a good job at trying to balance the tournament, even though cost-wise it's a little more expensive. We're making longer trips, but we have a more fair event.
Great. So you're a Ventura County native. Grew up obviously as a junior golfer in this area. I know there are a lot of kids who have dreams of being great golfers and with a lot of talent. How did you get from being a beginner
right.
to where you are now?
It just takes, like most sports, like every sport, it takes a ton of work.
An alumnus, by the way, of Westlake High School.
Yep,
Westlake
I went to
Warriors.
Westlake High, and we had good teams there. I was really lucky to be on teams that, I wish that teams that I coached were as successful as those teams were when it came to winning, because we did a lot of winning. It just takes a lot of work. It takes dedication. It takes showing up at the course almost every day. That's the one thing it's a little unique to our sport. It's so multifaceted that if you don't dedicate your time, there might be 10 big areas, whereas some of the sports might, if you're a cornerback, let's say, there's maybe a few things you got to do really well. You got to be fast and strong and know how to cover. But in golf, you might have 10 things you need to do well. And so
seems like golf has got to be the toughest sport to master.
I think it's difficult because it's hard to know for so many of us, including pros. When you hit a shot, it's hard to know what just happened.
Right.
You know where it went, but you don't really know why sometimes. Right. And that can be unbelievably frustrating, and I think it also is part of the allure of the game, because sometimes it's a wonder what the heck just happened, and as great as it can be fleeting. There's something about golf that draws athletes from all sports.
Right.
And so I think most of it is the difficulty of it, because if it were really easy, people would probably get bored with it pretty quickly.
Right. It seems like the great athletes from every sport, you see, after they retire,
become golfers.
They're on the golf course because it's such a challenge, I guess, both athletically and mentally, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's fun to gamble.
And it's fun.
No, I think it does kind of fill some sort of competitive need with these guys, though. They really take to it. You hear about guys like Michael Jordan and all these unbelievably competitive people who maybe try to fill that outlet of wanting to stay competitive.
Competition.
Right, by playing the sport.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for maybe some of the local kids watching right now who want to be great golfers? How to get started, what their steps should be? Yeah,
absolutely. Couple things. First of all, get lessons and get them a lot. It's like I was saying earlier, it's the kind of sport that if you play it enough, you don't really. It's hard to know what the heck happened. It really is. It's a game of physics, and sometimes the ball will go left when you're swinging to the right, and sometimes it'll go left when you're swinging left, and so. It's kind of nice to have somebody around who can guide you.
Right.
The other thing I would say is, if you really want to be great, you just have to get it in your head that you're going to have to go to the course almost every day. That's just kind of what it takes if you want to be great. If you want to just have fun, though, I would say get some lessons, play as much as you can.
As much as you can, right?
Yeah, practicing is kind of tedious.
Yeah.
It's necessary evil for people who want to play college golf. But yeah, it's a great sport. There's ways to do it that don't require as much money or time, and so playing 9 holes maybe instead of 18. But anyways, yeah, I see we have a lot of kids in the county who play,
right.
And a lot of them will go on to play college golf, which is pretty cool. It's fun to see. We have a great junior golf association here, Ventura County Junior Golf, and they keep spitting out great players.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Our time is almost finished. You're such a great contributor. We love having Ventura County resident representing us at such a high level at USC. And
thank you.
Congratulations on all your success. You're a Camarillo resident, you and your beautiful wife Kim, and your kids Wyatt, Laney, and Joey, all big parts of the community. So we really appreciate everything you do, and good luck coming up with the going at it for the national championship.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Great.
Yeah.
So our guest today has been Chris Zambri, head golf coach at the University of Southern California Trojans. Fight on, Trojans. A little victory sign.
Yes.
Thanks so much for being here, Chris. Chris is going for national championship hopes this year with the Trojans. And thanks for watching Our Ventura. I'm your host, Bart Stern.